everyone, this is my Mikhails, may call me, and welcome back to Higurashi when they cried Tatarigoroshi. Let's just begin. Sunday. The fireworks I heard before noon were probably to announce the opening of the festival. And the weather certainly wasn't festival weather, it was cloudy. The television forecast was calling for a possible downpour starting this evening and lasting until around midnight. But as long as it wasn't raining at the moment, the festival would go on. The festival had to open, or it wouldn't begin. The Fude Shrine grounds were probably decorated beautifully for the big performance that only happened once a year. Many paper lanterns were hung up, all in the auspicious colors of red and white. The sound of electric motors at the stalls, the voices of kids running around, their happy families watching them smiling. Today was the festival of the Tatarigoroshi. Was everyone already partaking in the festivities? What about Satoko? Had she forgotten her days of suffering just for a few moments while smiling that brilliant smile she hadn't so long? This will probably be the longest day of my life. It'll be the day I'll remember vividly for as long as I lived. I told my parents I'd go to the festival this evening and lounge about during the early afternoon. We may have lived under the same roof, but they couldn't help being surprised by the deviation from how I usually spent my time. Glancing my parents out the corner of my eye, I went to the front door. I tied my shoes just a little tighter than normal, as if to express the firmness of my resolve in those knots. When I tried to murder Satoko's uncle, I was in such a state of excitement I almost went crazy. And when I was planning out the act of a murder, which directly went against all the morals fostered in me thus far, I was in such a state of calm that I almost thought I lost my emotions. And then yesterday, when I learned Satoshi had made exactly the same phone call as me, I didn't know how to describe the muddled feelings I had then. And now, entering today, right now I lacked all the emotions that I possessed until now. To make this simple analogy, it was kind of the feeling you might get right after you wake up, when you're half asleep and you don't feel anything very clearly. I had no anger towards that man for the violence he committed against Satoko, nor did I feel sadness towards or sympathize with her. I felt no discontent with my friends, who had just waited and watched, never reaching out to her with any help, and no nervousness or fear towards the day that had finally come. Yeah, right now, you can say I was in the best possible condition for carrying out a murder. When it came down to it, I'll probably need to let my violent emotions take control. Right up until that moment, I liked to be an insect. I would slowly, surely, and suddenly move towards my one objective, and then, when I had my prey, I'd attack him like a bullet. There's no emotion in that, just the creepy mindset insects possessed. That sort of sneaky feeling was just the best. I'll kill Satoko's uncle like he was a worm. I had to laugh a little thinking that way, thinking like an insect. Tug. I tied up my laces one more time and walked out the door. I brought the shovel out from the front storeroom. I would need to dig the man's grave. The shovel was a convenient one made for camping. If I twisted it like so and split into three, I could easily hide it in my bag. I twisted the shovel, dismantled it. Even though I had done it countless times before, I had trouble for some reason. Like I was suddenly clumsy now. I knew why. It wasn't because I was nervous. My weak-willed self deep within me was hesitant. I knew that dismantling the shovel was the first step I had taken before becoming a murderer. Ugh! The last choice was conspicuously difficult, but it finally submitted before the strength of my determination. The area around Satoko's house was assigned my circle activity, but even just riding my bike in the middle of the day like this might seem suspicious to an observant person. I definitely want to avoid meeting and talk to someone I knew. With that in mind, I chose the route to my destination carefully. I didn't mind going the long way around. With how long this day would be, I would never be too careful after all. Still, I was fortunate enough not to run across anybody on my way to the planned site of the crime. I wasn't superstitious at this point, but it was a good omen. The place I would dig the hole was in this grove, a little further into the woods. I was worried I might not make it to the same place as before, since there were no signs to guide me, but I arrived there smoothly as expected. I took another look around. Not even hid a human presence. area was a little bit damp, but I was comfortable in the cool shade of the trees. I took the single shovel out of my bag and began skillfully putting it together. Then, I stuck the tip of the shovel into the soft-looking patch of the ground and pushed it on with my foot. The shovel was split into the earth if I put some strength into that foot. The act of doing so seemed awfully like the point of no return. It made me hesitate. I was just digging a hole with a shovel, but it made me go hard. Calm down, Keiichi, let's do a countdown. Get it done on the count of 3, okay? Alright. 1, 2. I couldn't do it on the countdown. In spite of just sticking the shovel to the ground, I had to count down 5 or 6 times. Damn it. I'm just digging a hole. This is pathetic. As I thought that, I was struck to my heel like I was stepping on something unpleasant, and split! Came the sharp noise. It was only soft at the beginning. Roots and stones quickly got in my way, informing me just how hard it was to dig a hole big enough for a person. No decent person would ever come here anyway. Maybe it would be enough to cover it up with some dirt. Every time a naive thought like that crept into my mind, I bit down on it with my teeth and dug even harder. I dug enough now. I could hide him like this. Every time I thought that, I would go down into the hole, grow disappointed how shallow it was, and return to digging. The thin layer of sweat on my brow eventually formed into drops and fell into the ground. My back was even worse shape. My damn shirt adhered to my skin, and it felt so disgusting. The things I couldn't stand the most were mosquitoes. Maybe they were attached by the scent of my sweat. The white and black striped mosquitoes would cling to me whenever I let my guard down. It was hot. It was disgusting. I was sticky. I was itchy. All those uncomfortable feelings surged through me in waves. Damn it all. So what? Are you telling me to pack up and go home? Is that it? I didn't yell at anyone. It was me talking to myself. Me telling myself something. Why was I feeling this way and digging a hole all the way out here? What benefit would digging this hole give me? What harm would there be in not digging this hole at all? Wait, in the first place, who ordered me to dig? When I thought it over, maybe ever since grade school, or even before that, my whole life had only been me doing what other people told me to do. I didn't mean it was somehow constrained, living a life just based on the command of others. And I didn't mean I was too lazy to try to find my own road in life. Metaphorically speaking, yes, it was like a road. I've never been particularly physically fit. I didn't hit puberty until I didn't hit puberty very early, and if all my classmates and I got online, I usually be on the shorter end. My schools and jump rope competitions and marathons were the very picture average. And it wasn't like the captains of the dodgeball teams would have passionate rock, paper, scissors contests to see which would get me. During those kindergarten and grade school years, I felt like someone was only worth by how fast they grew or how fit they were. Looking back on it now, it was really uncomfortable for me. The thing that turned that all around was just a few words from my mother. Keiichi, would you like to go to a cram school? You better grasp what you're learning in school and it will be more fun. The very first test I took in cram school was kind of like a game. It was a lot of fun. It wasn't like the test with the same exact problem a dozen times in a row. Every question had a picture to it, almost like one of those puzzle books that came with manga magazines. If my studies at school had been like this, it would have been way more fun. Several days later, I went to cram school again with my mother and the enrollment paperwork. Oh my god, I said the enrollment paper without reading the work part. Oh. I'm sorry. I've had a long weekend. Mom and the person at the cram school had a really long, heated discussion, so I accidentally dozed off and missed most of what they said. But I clearly remember one point. Mom made a loud groan, surprised at something. My 61. Do you mean his average score was 61 points? No, not at all, Miss Barbara. The mean deviation of our cram schools all across the country is 61. He's shown good numbers, even if it was just a simple intelligence examination. First, I would like to say Keiichi Barakun is extremely bright. Keiichi? But he doesn't have very good grades at school. He has very average marks on his report card. B's, C's, D's. Is there some kind of mistake? We gave him the Kremlin test as well, and we learned some very interesting things as a result. My barcode is extremely weak when faced with questions that don't have any meaning. He just has no interest in simple, dull questions that don't have anything to do with everyday life. So even if he doesn't know what 2 plus 3 is, if you told him he had 2 apples and then got 3 more, he would understand the sort of question? That's right. For example, instead of telling him to draw a fine and foldable cube, what if we asked him what a die would look like when cut open? If we did that, he could answer beautifully. Then the person from the cram school showed her a page from one of the exams I took. It was paper with questions about construction. Construction questions were unusual, so they were really cool, weren't they? In this question, it asked to draw a rectangular icosahedron, a shape with 20 faces. We rephrased it and asked him how he... I'm sorry for that burp. When we rephrased it and asked him how he would cut out a piece of cardboard grade a 20-sided die, Keiichi drew the answer as though it were easy. This is not something an average child can do. Keiichi, have you ever made a die with 20 sides for a magazine entry or anything? Dice only went from 1 to 6. I never even considered before this test that there were dice with more than 6 sides. I'm 3 distractions within 1 minute. That's a new record for me. That is an absolute new record for me. Get out of my face, phone. Jeez. Oh my god. Dice only went from 1 to 6. I never even considered before this test that there were dice with more than 6 sides. So it was fun to imagine what kind of shape a die that went up to 20 would have. If I had a die like that, I could win at dice games against anyone, especially D&D. So I immediately wanted to make it. Finally, I entered cram school. There was only 4 students in the class they put me in, which was called Select. It was the highest class, and some of my classmates were in lower classes. And when I remember how much better they had done at things like dodgeball and the 50-meter sprint, I felt happiness well up within me the first time. Even if I wasn't good at them physically, I triumphed over them in other ways. It was fun at first. The more I did, the more I was praised. My teachers at school suddenly started pampering me, and it felt good. My parents were satisfied too, and I enjoyed seeing them satisfied. The more I listened to my parents' commands, the more fun things got. That did happen, didn't it? I grinned dryly in self-deprecation. Because, well, my studious lifestyle didn't end up lasting very long. It was only at the beginning I enjoyed learning more and more. I gradually got along less with my friends. My classes were behind what I was learning in cram school, and I eventually stopped respecting the teachers, given they put me to sleep with their lectures. And well, I was disagreeable sort who bragged about how much I knew. And the ways of the world didn't let me remain in that state of ecstasy forever. I would do as I was told, then I would go above and beyond their expectations, and then they praised me. I was happy for that, and the cycle repeated itself like the wheels of a bike. I thought moving forward like that was how life worked, like a bicycle. When I moved to Himigizawa, I realized just how inadequate it was. Some things happened, and we started saying how moving and getting a change in atmosphere would be nice. And then my father, he had a place that he liked, that he got into a few times to draw the nature. He started saying that he wanted to bring his atelier here. With me in blank amazement, they decided to move to Himigizawa. And after that, I met them, didn't I? The first day after transferring here, I went to the classroom with the teacher. I thought it would seem pitiful for her to bring me in there, so I placed my hand on the door before she could, slammed it open, and set foot into the room. The thrilling, powerful way I opened that door was none other than my own determination to try doing my life over again. And then, within seconds, that determination took counter to my face. A blackboard eraser fell on me. Plus, there was a huge rock inside. It was extremely painful trap someone to set up. Oh, come on. Something was already beating me from the first day I transferred? That frightened me. I was bewildered. The class was surprised too. I wasn't just surprised that the students in the class were all in different grades and were in different genders. It was because the room felt completely different from the schools I knew. I spent more time with them. My surprise continued to grow. A fresh sense of surprise never left my life even to this day. Every day was a fresh new surprise. I never had a single boring day since coming here. Whoa. The days were lively, spent with other club members. We played Old Maid with cards with scratches on the back to sheet. We let our passions go wild during our games. We went all out on regular participants in tournaments at the tour store in town, and many, many more things. Go back to Tatarigoroshi. Recently during those times, there was bento competition. It was that's when I saw an unexpected sight to Sadako. Thinking back on it, I only dinner with her 2 times. It was a sweet, gentle time spent, and it warmed my heart never even now. I realized that Sadako was pretending to be stubborn and firm, and how brave she was. Part of her heart was always waiting for Nini to come home. And I vowed to become her Nini. Sadako may have been nagging and overly critical, but she knew how to take care of someone. But though it may seem like she was taking the lead, it was actually her way depending upon another person. Even Satoshi and Sadako's lives as siblings were confined by their uncle and his wife. There were warm, sunny days. When did those sunny days all go wrong? What mistake was made? Lamenting tragedies of the past would do no good, and I told myself that many times, but I did anyway. Keiichi, isn't that why you chose your own path? To take back that life? Nobody ordered you to do this. You decided upon your own. You don't desire anyone's praise for this. You thought it all through with yourself. You will carve it out to yourself. And you'll do it now. This wasn't a path I could see very far down. Not like the road parents or society could offer. It was a narrow path, dark and utterly distressing, one for the next that would always be shrouded in darkness. But that disheartening path, keep going forever. It was an unlimited path, and there was nowhere I could travel. That kind of path was only available to those who imagined where they wanted to go. Don't be ashamed about breaking the brightly lit paved road. In fact, feel proud that you found your very own path to walk, and hadn't discarded the paved road either. Once I achieve my goal, I will go back to that bright road, and then I'll spend those average sunny days at my leisure. When I realized it, the hole had grown so deep I couldn't believe it. Did I dig this all myself? I think digging this much is enough, right? I put my shovel into the bottom of the hole. I would drag the body here, throw it into the hole, and cover it up with dirt. Even if it took me time to camouflage it by putting plants on top, it would go much more easily than the other. Oh, it would all go much more easily than digging this hole had. Okay, there you go. I glanced at my watch. It was almost evening, and I hadn't realized it. I may not have felt the time passing, but digging a hole this deep must have taken quite a lot of time. I took a seat on the slip to walk nearby, and wiped sweat from my brow. Now, one's got a little darker. I'll go get the metal bag I had in the school guard. Then I make the call to lure him out. And then I do it. The number of things I needed to do to reach that moment were dwindling. I felt that moment closing in on me much more keenly than it did the passage of time. I didn't have any hesitation, but I still felt that. A contradiction. Every step in this process, I had a few chances to hesitate, to turn back, to let myself loosen my nerve. Oh, to let myself lose my nerve. Never mind. Never mind. I'm sorry. God! I am so messed up in the head at the moment. Having to endure those million temptations and wait when the time was right was an indescribably slow and painful torture. I thought myself acting all weak because of that, but I stopped midway through. This was okay. That was fine. I could detest that normal act of homicide as much as I wanted, and it didn't matter. I wasn't going to be a cutthroat killer after today. I would pass through the strange thing and go back to the world I was in before. I felt the level of a psychopath who thought nothing of killing. I couldn't be able to go back to my old life. So this was fine with me. I didn't have to feel ashamed at hesitating to kill, because I was human. It was so funny to me that I'd be the bearer or she was I was cursed at the same time I was aware he was human. I exhaled lightly and stood. I concealed my presence and sharpened my sense in all directions to search for anyone but me. Okay, let's go. One step at a time. I'll walk my own path. A path no one forced me to walk. Let's do this. Keiichi Maibara. The cicadas made an annoying fuss. Their chorus covered up the suspicious noise of me breaking twigs underfoot. And the chorus filled a path far ahead of me, letting me know I was alone for some time. The cicadas blessed the path I walked, encouraging me with every last ounce of the strength they had. The sky was far above. In not even an hour, the veiled night would draw near, and the sky would be tinted with dusk. By that time, the Higurashi would let me hear their chorus in the place of the cicadas. When that happened, would everything be over with? Would everything have ended? I had something along those lines when I was set to go straight up to a public agency. But this time, it was different. I would do it. I would carry it out. I would end it. It would all be over very soon. Everything would end. Yes, when the Higurashi cried. Whoa. Oh. Okay. Okay. I don't know what just happened. I don't know what just happened. Well now. Okay. Now? Let's kill the bastard. There was nobody at school. I couldn't hear the beautiful voices of the children. This is the first time I've seen the school with such a lack of human presence. Still, I quieted my breath and looked around, not wanting to be unprepared. It had gone darker outside, but it was almost like my eyes could see more clearly now. I made it absolutely sure of my safety, and then walked to the heavy construction machine I hid in the middle of that inside. I had a tinge of worry, a premonition that someone had found the bat and hidden it somewhere else as a prank. If that happened, would I take that as an opportunity to desist? If it really wasn't there, then... The sensation of chilled metal. It was still here when I left it. It hadn't run away. Satoshi hadn't run away. He waited here patiently for me. Sorry for the wait, Satoshi. It's been a long time coming. Be prepared for this. Through the metallic touch, Satoshi grins at me in my mind. That's what I should be asking, you know. I did this last year already. You should be worried about yourself. Right on, Satoshi. But show him a bad time. Let's show him a bad time, my phone went off. I freaking swear. Okay, I'm gonna look at my phone real quick. I'm so sorry, but oh my god, that was like perfect timing. Let's show him a bad time, my phone went off. Oh crap, it's a phone call. Okay. This is embarrassing. Now I have to explain one thing. That's my ringtone. Yep. That was my ringtone! Satoshi's bat got lighter and lighter, and it fit into my hands like it was being absorbed. It didn't feel wrong to swing this. I could move it around so naturally it was like an extension of my own right arm. Of course it felt like that. Toshi and I were holding one back together. Next, I would make the call. Lure the man out. It wasn't a bad time for it. My friends were desolately parading happily through the stalls. I considered where to make the call from. My house and South Coast were pretty far. If I called from my house, I wouldn't make it. Couldn't I use the school phone? But as I thought, the room was locked up and I couldn't get in. Shit! I'm so naive. You should have at least figured this part out. I couldn't call him. And just for that, was the hell over? I'm sorry, Satoshi. Just as I cursed my own naivete, a miracle occurred. A bicycle came into the schoolyard. It was a familiar middle-aged man. The one from the forest field office. Why? Wasn't today Sunday? Was he here to pick something up he forgot? Anyway, the forest officer went around back and felt around his pocket, then unlocked the door and entered. The best possible coincidence. It had to be Satoshi who saved me. A metal bat, through my contact with it, told me this was a chance I couldn't allow to slip by. The section for the forest office and the school were neatly separated. I felt the man headed to the forest office storehouse, which was so far in the back students were allowed into it. The door had a matches fitting as well, so it didn't close all the way, and the cabin door opened as if to lure me in. I took a deep breath and went in. I tiptoed along, silently and stealthily, and made it into the teacher's lounge. That was the only place with a phone. As I held my breath in the teacher's lounge, I heard the Forest Service officer walking back over. Then the back door clattered shut and was locked. I glanced at the window through the schoolyard, and watched as the man got on his bike like nothing had happened, and rode out the school gate. The school once again emptied, becoming deathly silent. As I waited for a bit to make sure that silence was the real deal, I reached for the phone on the principal's desk. I fished Satsuko's house phone number out of my pocket. Yes. The number in the class directory for Satsuko had been the one from their house now, where she lived with her uncle. I touched the dial with my fingers, and then thought for a moment about what to say exactly when he picked up. Despite how many times I got over it in my head last night, now that my finger was on the dial like this, it started to seep out of my mind like a cracked bucket leaking water. Put some flex fuel on it. Simple would be best. More importantly, to say it was straight and not sound suspicious. I counted off 3 heartbeats and spun the dial. The call sound. It's Satsuko's uncle pick up. Now of all times, the hope that he wouldn't pick up, and the feeling of doom and the knowledge that I couldn't save Satsuko if he didn't, whirled around in a vortex. Hello? It was the voice of a grumpy man, like he'd just woken up. He picked up. Hello? Say your name so I know you're Hojo, you asshole. It would be terrible if I got it wrong. I made up my mind and had the initiative on my side. Here we go. This is the Shishimoto Kamiya police station. Am I speaking to the Hojo residents? I was changing my voice, but did he really think I sound like an adult? Would he believe I was police? Oh, yeah. This is Hojo. We currently have your daughter, Satsuko Hojo, here with us. What? Satsuko? What did that brat do? He fell for it. I could tell by how tense he was, he didn't doubt my words. I can explain the particulars once you arrived here. Would you mind coming to the station right away? Right now? Oh, I took a bath myself. Do you really want to go out like this, though? So I don't. Oh, damn it. Okay. So I don't really want to go out like this, though. What? You don't want to come out because you already took a bath? Yes, right away. Right away? Jeez, man. What the heck does Satsuko do? I'll explain once you're here. I'll be waiting. Thank you for your assistance. 1 second. I don't know where the police station is. Where am I going? You moron? What the hell? Oh, could be a police station? I don't know where it is either. Aren't you from around here? Why don't you know that? A greasy sweat came over my body. Eventually, just as I was about to choke, he spoke. Oh, next to the fire station, right? That's pretty far. Thank goodness. He remembered on his own for me. I didn't care where the police station was, as long as he left his house to get there. We'll be waiting here. Oh, wait. Who am I asking for once I get there? What is your name? On top of that, you want to know my name? Just leave your own goddamn house already. Maibashi. Excuse me. That was close. I was starting to know my real name. I managed to change the last syllable, but I put the receiver down like I was running away. My fingers were trembling, and I was soaked with a tempest sweat. I wasn't just nervous about the phone call. With that call, everything had finally been put into motion. I left school. It was locked before, but it was easy to open from the inside. But I couldn't lock it again after I left. In terms of being thorough, I wanted to lock it, but I couldn't waste time going back to the teacher's lounge looking for the key. I needed to rush back as soon as I could and ambush him. I zoomed back to the scene of my bike. If Satoru's uncle got out of town before I got there, everything would be over. He learned that there was no one at the station named Maibashi, and things would get pretty messed up. As I returned to full speed, I passed a family wearing yakutas. They must have been on their way to the festival. Yukatas. Oh my god, I said yakutas. I'm sorry, yukatas. Oh my gosh, I thought about that in the back of my mind. I'm so sorry. Oh, I've been messing up a lot this episode. Okay, I'm sorry. Many people in Himuzawa knew my face. No one didn't know theirs. Even just passing by them like this made me uneasy. I didn't generally come around here, so those living in this area might not know much about me. That doesn't matter right now. I need to get back as fast as possible to control my breathing and ambush the man. I headed my bike in the thickest and thicket and picked up Satoshi's bag, which I just left hidden in the shade. And then I held my breath, waiting to see someone. I wondered if he still hadn't gotten me. Maybe he went right out of the phone call and passed by here already. I couldn't figure out which it was, and was set upon by indescribable impatience. Calm down, Keiichi. Even if he came here already, he passed by here on the way back, right? The end result would be the same. It wouldn't change the fact he'd die. He'd probably be coming on his motorcycle. How would I stop him then? I figured it would be the best not to think too hard about it and hit as soon as he passed, or beat him out of his seat. The path was made of pebbles. If I hit him as hard as I could and made him lose his balance, he wouldn't be able to help falling. And then, the course of Higurashi stopped. It sounded like approach from far away. I couldn't tell what sort of motorcycle it was from the sound. I've seen it parked before, so I know. It was getting rapidly closer. It was almost here. He just went a little farther. He crossed into that thicket and disappeared in front of me. Appear in front of me. Appear in front of me. I'd take a moment to make sure it was him. And when I had put my plan into action, the motorcycle appeared. A few easily identifiable characteristics told me it was Satoru's uncle's bike, without a doubt. Was it really him? Was it really Satoru's uncle? I wasn't making a mistake, was I? I'll look at its characteristics again. Its color, shape, and most of all, the man's clothes. And face! Those last feelings of hesitation, I did away with them. Satoru. Now, your Nini will end it, okay? Closer. Closer. If I came closer. Let's go. Satoshi! Yeah. Whew. I jump out of the thicket. I use my shoulder to basically tackle the uncle on the bike with all my might. Ah! 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 He gave a dumb shout as his bike completely lost its balance. Finally, it fell, the bike scattering clouds of sand, and after spinning, it stopped. Our uncle tossed it to the ground, didn't understand what had just happened, and groaned for a few moments, crouched on the ground. My breathing started to become ragged. No, I couldn't have this emotion. Some weird secretion crossed through my mind and nearly made me hallucinate. Her uncle was groaning. Now was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. What was I doing? All the sound in the world had cut off. My mental chaos from a moment ago withdrew a lie, and I could feel the temperature in my head rapidly cooling down. The tension in my muscles went all away like the strings that had been attached hadn't been cut. And I let my hands dangle at my sides. It wasn't quite like exhaustion. Have you calmed down now? Okay, Mara. Do you need to remember again why things got to this point today? I stepped over the pebble path, taking one step, another step, then another towards Satoru's uncle. The more I walked, the more my breathing calmed. The more I walked, the more I felt my body cooling, calming, chilling with the frost. Yes. At this moment, this guy had lost permission to live. I just resented it. So he mustn't stay in this role any longer. If he lived any longer, if Satoru's misfortune continued, it would be my responsibility for having allowed him to live. feel the cooling substance going through my whole body, even down to my capillaries. Her uncle was at my feet now, still on the ground like an idiot. I smiled coolly how ridiculous he looked. It's all it took for it to hurt. Satsuko's heart hurt much more, and now you're gonna feel that? And with your life, I'll make up for it pain. I erased all unnecessary information from my mind. I prioritized the murder of this man. Execute, execute, execute. Wham. Utterly calmly, I delivered my first strike to the back of his head. I wanted to get the most affected spot, at least during that first minute I had to attack him while he was at his most defenselessness. Ah! As if he was hit in the head, he covered his head. As if he was hit in the head, he covered his head. He was just hit in the back of the head! It was an insensitive reaction all humans made, like machines. He used both hands to cover his head, so he couldn't pick himself up off the heat he was in on the ground. Like pounding a capoeira into the dirt, I hit him over and over. If he covered his head, I hit him on the side. If he covered his body, I would go for his head. If he rolled over, I struck his feet, his knees, his elbows. I didn't care where anymore. By just delivering one blow after another, I induced panic in him. I retained my overwhelming advantage, but I hadn't done nearly enough to deliver a fatal wound. Ah! Our uncle swiftly pulled himself off the ground and started to run like a fleeing rabbit. It wasn't a judgment he made after seeing my face and deciding whether to fight me. Right now, he was fleeing by instinct, just trying to escape from the threat that just presented itself. A counterattack from the more physically capable of her uncle was what I was most concerned about. He may have had run, but it wasn't all that unlucky. And the odds were in my favor. The uncle didn't run away towards people, but off in the path into the woods. How pleasant. He had run in the direction where nobody else was. He was fleeing through strange geography like a rat that instinctively runs to entire spots over and over. Yes, he was no longer human. He was a rat. The blood vessels in my legs expanded, and total oxygen supply increased. I lowered myself to gain the most explosive velocity I could. Without breathing, I came like a wind-like shadow, and dashed. I crossed the thickets, crushed dead tree branches underfoot, and drove through the woods like a bullet. He ran so casually, arms flailing as he went. After catching up to him, I didn't need to so much as a blink of an eye to strike him again. My senses, mind and body were all sharpened purely to kill this man. This was the first time I felt like this. Well, this was the first experience I ever had killing someone. It felt natural continuing to do this for the first time. And then, not as much talent for killing. Or perhaps the act of killing was so simple that anyone could do it. I didn't struggle or grow tired at all of chasing the clumsily feeling uncle. No matter how much he ran, it was like trying to get away from his own shadow. He couldn't get away from me. I could easily aim at his back, his shoulder, and his head from this unnatural stance. Each time I struck him, he wailed in pain and begged pitifully for forgiveness, but it didn't stir my mind. I was neither excited nor plagued by hesitation before. I felt sharp. I felt like a carnivore. Of course, so did Uncle, who was trying to run away because he didn't want to die. He didn't want to be eaten, like a herbivore running with all his might, trying to get away. Despite all the attacks, despite all the hits, he kept on fleeing without staggering. Despite the bad footing of the force, he impressively never tripped over anything. But there was no need to admire that fact. It was simply proof he was no more than an animal. If he was chased, he would run. If he was going to be killed, he would run. He bare his fangs at the weak, but couldn't oppose the strong whatsoever. He was lowly, vulgar, a diminutive animal. Such a puny little creature had harmed Satsuko. Scar after scar to her body, mind-deep wounds that might never go away as long as she lived. Ow! Oh. Oh. My calm and calm emotions suddenly turned into bestial ones. My personality changed into something specialized for murder, purely to devour the diminutive animal before me. Her uncle gave a puny little shriek. Oh, that was her uncle doing a shriek, sorry. Her uncle gave a puny little shriek, covered his head, and ran. I'm impressed by how much he could run. Fine. Run as much as you want. Like, I'll be your death. I'll choose the moment of my leisure. Your legs will hurt, your lungs will feel about to burst, and your head will hurt from lack of oxygen. If you feel the pain has become worse than death, then by all means stop any time. Without turning back, suffocating on the terror of approaching death, he just ran shamefully onward. He ran, but was chased, his head bashed with a metal bat, sweat and drool flying everywhere, blood clinging to him. From his mouth came the sounds of coarse, irregular breathing, and a high-pitched scream that verged on crying. And pleas for release to someone, I didn't know who. Each and every second was a second of atonement that I granted him. Now run, 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 run! And fall, and moan, and die! Where'd you even crawl out anyway? You were never here before. If you were never here, you should have never showed up. If you never showed up, our lives would still be fun and enjoyable. We would have gone to today's festival, waited for each other, and gone to the shrine laughing. We would have been playing all amongst all the songs right about now. We would be browsing the strange fruit stalls you only saw at festivals, trying to get prizes for the goldfish scooping, throwing, or target practice. Bion will surely make it to the competition, and we, as a club, will have a grand time. And everyone would be cheering for Rika-chan's dedication dance, and everyone would say how fun it was, and give us energy for days to come. Fun, enjoyable, and funny. What a time spent with friends! And that would have happened, but it didn't. And now it was all smashed to pieces. There was no doubt would be what the world was like if you never showed up. You were the obstacle, the mistake, the heresy in the world. I'll correct that mistake now. I would erase you and make it so that the last week never happened. Tonight was the Tatarigoroshi festival. The holy night, where just taking one life was permitted in the name of Oshi's I was cursed. It looked like the Higurashi stopped crying at some point. When the Higurashi cried, everything would end. And the Higurashi silenced. Lowly one. The outer atonement is at its end. The Higurashi stopped their crying, thus it is the end. The end! You don't have to run away anymore. Die with those dirty brains that were smashed everywhere. Lightning and thunder struck like an explosion. It was so loud that I shook the ground, and I smelled gunpowder. The response I got this time was clearly different from the one before. The metal bat crunched into the crown of his head. It was like the top of a head had just caved in, and the bat felt like it was biting him. It had been the final killing attack that had visited him. And I didn't overlook the opening as he left his knees gave out under him. I remained alert for a few moments. Thud. I planted both knees in the ground, and fell forwards, bearing my head into the ground. Ha! 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 I've been holding my by ragged breathing, but now it came out of me like a dam bursting. My head was dizzy and light, and unable to retain my balance. I leaned against a nearby tree. Uncle didn't try and guard his head any longer. After a disgusting sort of spasm, he stopped moving. Did I get him? Did I get him for sure? I fought back my exhausted urge to fall over where I stood and drew towards him carefully, but still at the ready. It was possible that he was faking it and trying to wait it out. Should I check for a pulse? I realized it right away, though, how unnecessary it would be. If I thought he might be faking it, then I would just have to keep pummeling him until I was satisfied. I fought back my ragged breathing again, and then I swung my bat from far above and brought it down. His body leaped like a brow, but he didn't try to cover his head. Then once again, I aimed for his head and swung. His reaction was the same as this time. After spending a few moments making his head into mochi, the hits actually started to feel different, and it started to spray a filthy, dark red liquid everywhere. That was enough. It was definite now. Absolutely killed him. There's no sense of accomplishment, nor one of regret. I didn't feel anger towards Satoko's uncle, nor pity towards Satoko herself. Instead, right now, I was feeling to my heart had been slowing from downpour, and it began to rain at some point, and how comfortable it felt. The rainwater drenched my body and dripped down into the ground. The excitement within me faded as the rain washed away with grime. In exchange, my shoes were so wet they made splashing sounds. Despite the abusing Satoshi's back like this, it wasn't bent very much. There were a few dents in it, probably from hitting the man, but nothing would seem different from before. Instead, it had been stained black with red with mud and blood. That itself would be evidence. The one piece of evidence needed to prove that my delusions had been just daydreams, and that has ended Sato's uncle for all eternity. Alright, Keiichi. Come to mind. The time for passion is over. Now is the time to be as cold as ice. I needed to bury the body. But where was I? I simply followed the man as far as he ran into the darkness. I couldn't take a guess as to how far we ran. It was already pitch black around us, and the only light I had going was the very faint lights on the road a little further down. It was still dark out. I hadn't noticed the darkness until just now. My vision was so good I could see this man's ugly hairline. I could have counted the pores in his head. It was only now I realized how much crazy strength I had mustered at the moment. I went over to the street light. I looked up and down the road, this way trying to figure out where I was. Oh no. This was the one road connecting Higurashi to the town. We were unbelievably far away from Sato's house. Had the two of us really run so far in the distance? My surprise was accompanied by a knowledge of the miraculous fact that despite running so far and making so much noise, we didn't come across anyone at all. There was a long way between me here and the ambush location where I dug the hole. There was no way I could carry the body that far. Wait, aside from that, the bike the man took here was still lying in the middle of that path. That would be an issue. The police could tell whose motorcycle it was which by looking at its license plate. And it wouldn't just leave it at that. Thankfully, the course was in a dark forest. In terms of urgency, dealing with the bike would come first. And I wanted to get the shovel back from where I left it next to the hole. I shouldn't drag the body there. I would have to deal with it right here. Fortunately, the ground was like mud from the downpour, and it was more slippery here than I was before. I might be able to dig a grave quickly here. Of course, my bicycle was still over where I left it too. It still wasn't over. Homicide had only been half my goal. The other half would be just as important as the first. I quickly hide the body, not allowing the beginning to happen. I'd race the man like he never existed, and regain the peaceful times we had before. I put my head backwards, and calmed my mind even further. The big wild droplets stuck to my brow mercilessly. They were actually quite comfortable, and for a little while, I let my desire have its way. After confirming that I was sharp again, I started running through the rain. The motorcycle was in the grass at the roadside. Considering how it looked, pelted with rain and covered in mud, it actually seemed like it had been lying there for a very long time. The plan was to drop the motorcycle into the swamp. The swamp was a bit of a walk from here. Ugh. I lifted the bike up. I didn't think it would be so heavy. I was a little surprised. Once I had it upright, it was fairly easy to roll it along. Still, pushing this thing all the way to the swamp was not really something I wanted to do. I could no longer ignore my exhaustion, and warned me numerous times about how far away the swamp was. This motorcycle, I wonder if I could ride it well enough. Once I got it going, it would be basically the same as a bicycle. Wouldn't it get me to the swamp quickly? Upon suggestion about my exhaustion, the anxiety getting on a motorcycle for the first time withdrew. I turned the key, and then you just kicked this pedal, right? Yeah! Yeah! It's on. And then I gripped the handlebars, first to right, then left. Ugh! And then I twisted them too much. The bike lurched and did a wheelie like an angry horse. I lost it for a second, but it was just a problem too much of how much torque to apply. Let's try that again. This time slowly, gently. That time it went well. It was strange to be on a two-wheeled vehicle that could go if I didn't even pedal. Very odd, but I got used to it quickly. He almost told me to get a scooter license within a day, and she was clearly right. This was pretty easy. I needed to throw this metal bat in the swamp too, but I didn't know how it would pack it back onto the motorcycle. Without much other choice, I stuffed into the back of my shirt, feeling like a ninja carrying a katana. If I put the tip down to seat of my pants and hunched over, it wouldn't fall out. I got on the bike end, and this time, go without any difficulty. I carefully pressed the button labeled Bite, and a rather strong light came on, illuminating the way forward. I probably really shouldn't have turned it on, but I didn't have any way of seeing it at this point, and had zero confidence I could ride through this darkness. As rain came down on me, I maintained a precarious balance and inched my way towards the swamp. Along the way, I ran across a few people who seemed to be returning from the festival. But none of them had any interest in me. They were either all soaked through with the rain and hurrying onto their ways home, or had umbrellas low and their heads down. Yesterday, I might have been wary of these passerby, but right now it didn't seem so much of a cause of concern. In fact, it will probably be less suspicious to be riding out in the open like this instead of sneaking around. More and more, though, I started to think of that idea as naive and brought on by an exhausted state. I climbed onto a steep hill. On the bike, the hill would have put me out of breath. I just accelerated. Okay, I'm getting a little bit tired. On a bike, the hill would have put me out of breath, but I had to accelerate a little bit to climb the entire thing. Motorcycles sure are convenient. For a moment, its lights illuminated the sun before I passed by it. Otafuchi Swamp / good children do not play around here. Still, it wasn't like the way to the swamp was cordoned by a metal fence or anything. Parents and teachers would get mad at you if they found out you were playing at the swamp, but some of the bad kids in my class apparently snuck out here and sometimes see a giant crayfish in the place. Okay, so my voice is getting really dry right now, and it's getting really hard to read at the moment. I really apologize for ending it this abruptly, but I can't read anymore right now. It's been a very long weekend for me. I'm filming this close to 11 at night. It's late at night, and I've had a long weekend. I stayed for 19 hours right now. So yeah, I'm kind of tired at the moment. So this was a pretty good read. Keiichi finally killed the bastard. So that was very interesting to read. The murder of Satoko's uncle. So thank you everybody for watching, and if you liked this video, leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll be reading more next time. I'll be reading more Higurashi when they cry to Tatarigoroshi next time. Okay.